Hello, this is teddygaming and welcome back to another preview video, and in this one we're going to be looking at the tmnt, the RW ongoing series, tmnt, the Alliance issue number 4, and oh boy, this one's going to be quite interesting, just because this one's going to be focusing on Venus de Milo and Bludgeon, as well as them going to the future to save Donatello. So this issue has some really interesting things that could potentially be setting things up for potential stuff for the future. So yeah, let's actually get into today's one with these images. Okay, so taking a look at the first page, you can see that Donatello's been travelled to the future, and you can see him in this tower thing, which I don't exactly know where it is. They don't really say like what part of the world this is in, and I think that's somewhat interesting and really intriguing in terms of what it could be. And then you can see this portal that's opened up where you see Donatello has arrived, and that's when he asks like where he is and all that, and that's when we hear a voice coming from upstairs saying that basically he needs to do this one last time and here we need to go again and all that. Now when we do look at the second page, we can see that it's Donatello from the future holding a really interesting stuff, like with a skull. Must admit that's actually quite cool. And then we get to see him holding a pen with the crystal that he was using to actually power the gauntlet. And then the things which I find quite interesting about this is that it really does give me vibes of Jack Kirby from the March comics or 2003 show. And then we see him drawing the turtles or the other turtles, Splinter, April, and I find it interesting that he draws Splinter and April just due to what he says. Now in this bit here where he goes in, like it's all starts like crying and stuff. It's really interesting just because he says basically that like things were never the same after the Armageddon game, and he wished that things they could have talked, but then the Armageddon happened. Now this sort of like really intrigues me in terms of what could be happening with the ongoing series in terms of the actual story. That's like really intriguing me right now because anything could happen, and we're really interested in that. And then he says like nobody believed him until it's too late. So again, I'm really curious to see what this is that he's talking about, and also like kind of curious to see if maybe what he does say could actually come to fruition and actually happen. I think it's like really interesting to see. I still don't want whatever it is happening to actually happen because I want everyone to survive and all that, but at the same time, I think it could be quite interesting. So looking at the third page, we get to see that he just says that he tried to warn them all and they did nothing. They left them apparently. And that's when we go back to the Foot Clan and get to see Venus and Bludgeon. They're really just talking things out, and they're just saying that like Venus is saying that basically Donatello is putting him into his life and all that. He doesn't really understand it all. Bludgeon goes in a bit more and just explains that basically the Turtles have this way of like bringing everyone into their lives and stuff like that, whether it's good or bad. And yeah, so going into the next page, it's more or less just like the same really. Venus says that she's like losing herself to all of it, but she doesn't want to. But that's when we get to see that Koya's come in and she's found Bludgeon and Venus. Bludgeon tries to explain, but he does a really poor job. But then this is really when we get to a really interesting part, just because Venus like stops time in a way, and then that's when we go into the next page, and this is where things get a little bit more interesting because Venus is able to bring Bludgeon into the time. I want to say I'm not too sure really what's happening here, and that's when they go into a portal themselves and see that Donatello is crying and he wants them all to be gone and stuff like that. So you know that's really interesting. Really interested to see where this all could go. And yeah. And then we did get this other little panel from Sophie Campbell, which is honestly really interesting as well. We get to see that Venus, Donatello, and Bludgeon all watching Donatello doing stuff with the portal and stuff. Quite interesting to see what this all has to do with stuff like that. Now going into the final bit, we get to see some covers and descriptions. Okay, so the description for this issue is a forgotten past, a second mutation, the manifestation of imaginable mystic powers. The experiment wrought on her by the mechanical Dr. Barlow left Venus forever changed and physically bonded to a turtle known as Donatello. But his path was never hers, and she's found a kindred spirit in Bludgeon, whose affinity for mystic arts have been questioning his allegiance to the Foot Clan. As chaos grips New York City, Venus and Bludgeon seek inner peace, but there's a darkness brewing in most unlikely places. and left unchecked, it could tip the scales in order of the Rat King's favour. Can Venus and Bludgeon quiet the storm, or will the Armageddon game claim the city and ultimately the world? Written and illustrated by the legendary tmnt co-captain Sophie Campbell. So I must admit, the description is really interesting in terms of things that it could potentially set up, I would say. And I would like to say that by the sounds of everything from this issue, with what could be happening with the Foot Clan and stuff like that, and also the stuff in the future, this really does sound as though that this issue is going to be the next big issue that could be sending everything off into motion, which I do think is really interesting. Now looking at the covers, which look a lot more interesting. Okay, so the first one we do have is done by Roy McCardigo. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right. And yeah, either way, he's doing the cover art for this issue, I mean, at least for cover A. And I must admit, it does look pretty amazing. This one, I don't know, for me, I feel as though that Bludgeon looks amazing. The colours do look a bit too bright blue, I'd say. But then Venus, I don't know really. There's something about the arms, I want to say, just make it seem a little bit off for me. And it does seem a little bit weird, but I must admit, overall the artwork is really nice for this piece. And yeah, I can't really say much more than that. It just looks like a really nice piece. Now the second cover, which is the cover B, which is done by Sophie Campbell, and it's sort of like the yin and yang with the the past Venus and the future Venus and stuff like that. And I must admit, this cover does look really nice, really interesting. I don't really know if this has anything to do with the actual story and could potentially be setting things up for stuff like that. But I must admit, this one does look really interesting and really nice. And yeah, I'm just quite curious to see what this all really means, because I got a feeling that it probably has something to do with the actual main story, but at the same time, this is like a cover, and sometimes covers are misleading, they don't really lead on to stuff, and sometimes they are somewhat fake. So I want to believe that this does have something to do with the actual ongoing story, but at the same time I'm not too sure. But like, either way, this is a really amazing cover, and yeah. Okay, now next one, which is just amazing, which you can see, which is done by Matu Santaloco, and wow, this one is just amazing, and this one's done like same sort of fashion as all the other covers done by Matu Santaloco for this whole Alliance series, and yeah, it's amazing. I don't have really too much to really say about this. I think the only thing which I would like to say is not really much of a complaint about the artwork, but I think it would have been cool to see like all these covers be like a connecting cover in a way. But like, other than that, I must admit, this whole piece of artwork is just amazing. I really do hope I'm able to pick this one up. This one just looks amazing. And I must admit, Venus here does look a bit, I want to say weird, but at the same time, she's not weird looking in this picture. I don't really know, it's hard to explain. She just feels a bit off and a bit out of place, really. I don't really know how the best way to describe it, but she looks good in this picture, but at the same time, just something about it feels off, you know. Yeah, I must admit, overall, these three covers are absolutely amazing. Can't wait to pick one of these up. They all look amazing, really. It's going to be hard to pick, or just find one cover to pick out, be like, yeah, this is the best cover. But, yeah. So yeah, let me know in the comment section below what you think about all these preview images. Are you looking forward to this one? Are you not? And also, what do you think is going to happen in this issue? But yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. If you do like something, please share, like, subscribe, and all that stuff. Goodbye, yo, bye.